And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Thursday, September 17th, 2020, and week one is in the books. It's good for, by math, half the teams are happy, half the teams are pissed. Some teams more than others. Looking at the slate of games last week, I didn't do too awful bad. I got 9 against the spread. And 11 straight up, so not too bad. Could have been better. Obviously, my heart took me to some deep places, dark places, like the Cleveland Browns getting that ass whoop. But let's get into it. Let's look at week one, wrapped up. Kansas City, spread was 9. Thought that'd be a lot of points. It looked like it could have been. They won by 14. New England, new Cam Newton, same New England Patriots. They won by 10. The Washington football team took down the lowly, beat up, already injured in week one Philadelphia Eagles. And I got them losing again this week, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Buffalo looking like the real deal. Josh Allen looking like the real deal. Pretty amazing. Minnesota, big letdown. Carolina almost made it there, lost by 4. Seattle looks like they're ready for the Super Bowl. I got no problem with that. They won by 13. They were, I think, 1.5 favorites. Cleveland got smoked, like boat raced, and we'll get to that later as well. Big surprise of the week, I think, for a lot of people, Arizona over San Francisco. Not for this guy. I took them straight up to win, even though they had the points plus 7. TB12, not looking like TB12 yet, but it's early in the year. Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger said he felt like he was in a car accident. And he should feel that way. A busted-ass leg, busted-ass arm, and they still got the victory. They won by 10. Giants showed some things, but, man, that's going to be a long season for Danny Dimes and the boys. And Tennessee, who would have thought? I mean, barely. But at any rate, week one's in the books. What we learn? Kansas City's really good. Cam Newton can still run the ball. We learned that the Browns still look like trash. Opening game. It's a tradition like any other. They've looked like trash the last 15 years in a row on opening day, so why should this year have been any different? We had some huge performances by quarterbacks in week one. Mr. Unlimited. Russell Wilson, like 344, 4 touchdowns, just midseason MVP Russ form. Patty Mahomes doing Patty Mahomes things. We saw that opening night. But my bowling guy of the week, A-Rod, Petty Rogers, Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Discount Double Check himself. 364, 4 touchdowns, having the time of his life. Just looks in the best shape he's been in his career. Looks like he's having fun. He's throwing suck it signs to people in practice. He's all the way back. That's my MVP pick for this year, Aaron Rodgers. Now, we did have some less than stellar performances. And I'm not going to take this to individuals. I'm going to keep this to teams. So the stank ass of the week, you would think I would pick the Cleveland Browns, and they are in there. But the Indianapolis Colts are also in there. They were taking on a team in the Jacksonville Jaguars that have traded away everyone that was worth a damn on that team for basically nothing. Looks like they were trying to lose every game, come out week one, and beat Indy. Indy was favored by 8. So, Indianapolis, you have a chance of going 0-2 this week. Cleveland Browns, you have a chance of going 0-2 this week. That would be a horrendous start for both organizations. So, whichever one of y'all could come out this week with a victory will have an opportunity to move forward. I think that if teams that go 0-2, I think they're already done. I think these divisions are too good. Even with the extra team, I think these divisions are too good. Minnesota's at Indy. Minnesota can't go 0-2. Indianapolis can't go 0-2. Somebody's going 0-2 this week between those two teams. The Cleveland Browns play tonight. They host the Bungles in Cleveland. And if they can't get it right this week, Baker Mayfield's going to be in the hot seat. People are going to be calling for Odell Beckham to be traded like they already are. They're going to say we should have stuck with Freddie Kitchens. We could have done this with Freddie. Why aren't we running the ball more? Why aren't we throwing the ball more? Why isn't the defense doing anything? So for a lot of these teams, they cannot afford to go down 0-2, especially with these high expectation teams like the San Francisco 49ers, like the Indianapolis Colts, like the Philadelphia Eagles, like the Minnesota Vikings. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. So let's hope next week that the Browns and Indianapolis Colts aren't our stank-ass teams of the week. Because if they are, it's going to be a whole new type of episode. But let's get into the picks, starting with tonight. Week 2, Thursday Night Football, Cincy versus Cleveland, Battle of Ohio. They're going to be blowing Joe Burrow up so big before this game. I can just see Good Morning Football right now and those guys just really trying to make it to where they want to root for them, but they're going to pull for Cleveland, but they're all hoping that Baker Mayfield has a meltdown. Well, the line is 6. Cleveland's favored by 6 at home after that terrible performance on the road in Baltimore. The over-under is 43.5. I'm taking the under, and of course I'm taking the Cleveland Browns. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns not because they're just the Cleveland Browns and that's my team. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns because Chubb averaged 6 yards a carry last week. Hunt averaged 5.5 a carry last week. They just didn't get to run the ball enough. And since he gave up $155, giving up 4.5 yards a carry to a team that, well, they're not as good as the Cleveland Browns. They don't have the running team like the Cleveland Browns do. Most teams don't in this league. But if Kevin Stefanski can stay on point and run, and when he thinks about passing, run again, and we can get a victory, I don't care if Baker throws for under 200 yards, has 1 touchdown, no turnovers, and we get a victory, because that's what has to happen. So Cleveland, -6, take the under. Now, as for Sunday's games, we're going to start with San Francisco at the New York Jets. Jets are favored by 7. Sorry, scratch that. They're the underdogs by 7. San Francisco's favored by 7. I'm going to take that. I think San Francisco gets right. New York Jets look terrible. Le'Veon Bell on the IR. But I am going to take the under of 42.5. I don't think it's going to be that big of a scoring game because I just don't think the Jets can score. Buffalo at Miami. Buffalo's a 5.5-point favorite. I'm taking that all day. The over's 41. I'm taking that all day. Miami gave up over 200 yards rushing last week to the Patriots. Cam Newton ran all over him. You don't think Josh Allen's going to do that? So, again, I look for Buffalo to be 2-0 and in firm hold of their division moving into Week 3. Now, Denver's at Pitt. Now, this is interesting. Denver's got some injuries. Pittsburgh's got some injuries. Pittsburgh's favored by 7.5. That's a lot of points. But I think with the production of Denver's offense or lack thereof and Pittsburgh's defense playing the way that they seemingly always do, I'll take Pitt at home. I'm taking the over 41.5. I think that's a good bet. I never want to bet on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but in this instance, I mean, it makes sense. All right, moving on. Atlanta at Dallas. Oh, boy. Cowboys lost a lot of people in that linebacking room just last week. Atlanta threw a lot of yards last week. Now, granted, they were down, so they put up a lot of yards, but Matty Ice had over 400. Dallas favored by 4.5. I'm going to go ahead and take that, and I'm going to take the over. I think they're going to score points. I think the over was 44.5. Either way, I'm taking it. I think Zeke's going to be able to run on Atlanta. I think Dak's going to be able to throw on Atlanta. I think they'll carve up that secondary. They're going to get some big chunk plays. Look for Michael Gallup to have a big day. Maybe CeeDee Lamb, but I think Ezekiel Elliott's probably the workhorse in this game and will lead the Dallas Cowboys to victory. Now let's go on to the New York G-Men and the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears have a fiasco on their hands with Allen Robinson. Says he's going to play through, doesn't think he'll be with the team next year, deleted everything off his social media. Their quarterback is still Mitchell Trubisky, if I'm not mistaken. They don't quite know who the running back is. Defense is banged up. I'm going to take the New York Giants on the road. I think the plus 5.5, they cover. They probably can win that game straight up. I think they're going to get a get-right game with Saquon Barkley. Whew, you know it's early. Barkley, and I'm taking the under a 42.5. I just don't think a lot of points are scored in this game. All right, let's move on. Jacksonville at Tennessee. So this game kind of got me feeling all sorts of ways because Tennessee's favored by 9. That's a big number. And Jacksonville showed up last week. Now, it's on the road. Tennessee's going to use that workhorse, Derrick Henry, till the wheels fall off, which will probably be next season. But 9's a lot, man. And Gardner Minshew Mania showed me something. I think I'm going to take Jacksonville in the points. Plus 9, Jacksonville, under 42.5. That's my pool. Biggest thing is I think 9 points is a lot of cover in the NFL, especially for a team like Tennessee. They got to prove it to me. And last year, going to the AFC Championship game and petering out doesn't prove it to me. Same thing with the Fugazi Niners, and we'll get into that later. Now moving on. Detroit at Green Bay. Again, Petty Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, A-Rod, discount, double check, the Phenom. Anything you want to label him, do it. It doesn't matter. They're -6. They're going to take that. They're going to beat Detroit by probably 10. I take the over 49. It's in Green Bay. Let's move on. Carolina, Tampa Bay. Again, another one. Tampa Bay favored by 9. They didn't look that great against New Orleans. New Orleans, pretty good defense. Tom's still not right with all of his receivers. Chris Godwin out with a concussion. Maybe less is more. I'm still going to take Tampa Bay -9. I'll take the under 48.5, though. I don't know that Carolina's going to score a lot of points. I think CMC, Christian McCaffrey's going to do his thing. We'll see what Teddy can do. I think that defense is just not where they need to be able to handle a Tampa Bay offense that's going to want to get right after last week's debacle in New Orleans. So take Tampa Bay -9, under 48.5. Let's move on. Now this one's interesting. The LA Rams on the road at Philly. Philly's +1. They're an underdog at home with a banged up line. I know Lane Johnson's coming back this week, but he's still going to have to go up against Aaron Donald. And if you saw what Aaron Donald and the LA Rams did to the Dallas Cowboys last week with all the quarterback hits and the sacks and just being in Dak's grill all day, I think they're going to get after Carson Wentz. I think Philadelphia Eagles are going to be 0-2. Take the over 46. Take the Rams. Keep it moving. All right, now this one. The Minnesota Vikings at the Indianapolis Colts. Now, we talked about this. Indianapolis Colts, stank-ass team of the week. Co-stank-ass team of the week. Playing Minnesota team that has to get this victory. They cannot afford to go down 0-2 in their division with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers probably bowling. Can't let that division get away from them. That needs to be a battle. Indy's -3. I'm taking Minnesota +3. I think they win straight up. I'm taking the under 48.5. I don't think both teams put up a lot of points. Marlon Mack out the rest of the year for the Indianapolis Colts. Phillip Rivers still trying to get a feeling with his receivers. I think Minnesota's got a better opportunity with what they have if they get a steady diet of Dalvin Cook and mix in a little Irv Smith Jr. They'll have this game in the books. Moving on. The Washington football team, the surprise of last week, beating up on Philadelphia Eagles. After being down 17-0, mind you. After being down 17-0, Dwayne Haskins, OH baby, brought him on back to a victory. That's amazing. It's a feel-good story. Thank goodness for him, for Ron Rivera. Hopefully he gets well soon. I know he's dealing with some cancer issues that he has taken on full steam. Good luck, coach, with that. But that's not going to help this week because they're at Arizona. Arizona favored by 6.5. D-Hop, 14 catches, 175,000 yards last week. It's amazing. Over 46.5, take them both. Cardinals are going to win by more than 7. Over 46.5, I don't see the Cardinals scoring anything less than 24. 28. Washington will put up some points, maybe in garbage time. That defensive line is going to be interesting against Kyler Murray. But again, I think the Cardinals do enough to get a victory, handle it out easy. Take them -6.5, the over 46.5, and let's keep it moving. All right, Kansas City at the L.A. Chargers. I'm going to take Kansas City till they prove me wrong. They're an 8.5-point favorite. They were a 9-point favorite last week. Take over the 47 because they probably will score 47 on their own. Kansas City, they're going to roll. Let's move on. Baltimore at Houston. All right. So Houston's a +7 favorite. Baltimore's too good. They look like they did last year. I'm going to take Baltimore on the road, the over 52.5, take the 7. So Baltimore -7, over 52.5. Lamar's going to do right. Maybe Mark Ingram gets involved more this week. If not, J.K. Dobbins will probably run rough shot on that Houston D, and Baltimore gets a victory. Sunday night football, ladies and gentlemen. The New England Patriots are taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Now, it's in Seattle, I believe. Now, I don't know if the wildfires and all those things, if that's going to change because of the air quality, which that'll be a whole new dynamic if that's what happens. But let's say it doesn't. It stays in Seattle. New England, traveling cross country. I know they're in new jets and all that stuff, and traveling's not as much as it was. 12-man's not going to be there, I don't think, in Seattle, so are they really going to have the home field advantage? But what they do have is Russ. What they do have is the same team together basically for the last 5, 6, 7 years for the most part. They're a 4-point favorite at home. Take them at home, 4-point favorite, over 45. I take that too. I think Cam Newton with New England, they're going to be a playoff team. I think he's going to have an MVP-like or comeback player of the year type season. But I think they end up being 1-1. I think Seattle's 2-0. Let's move along. Monday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints, probably without Michael Thomas for the next several weeks, are at the Las Vegas Raiders. Opening up the new stadium. No fans. Mark Davis says, if we can't have all fans, we're going to have no fans. I kind of respect that. I respect that line. I mean, how much money are they really going to make if they let 6,000 fans in? Let's be honest. Not enough for him to be able to take that stand and feel good about it. So I'm okay with that. I think it's a big Alvin Kamara game. I think they're going to get Taysom Hill really involved, especially if Michael Thomas isn't there. Do they have enough offense to beat the Raiders? The Raiders are +6 at home. Chucky. I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints. This seems like a game the Saints would lose, though. I know it does, but I'm going to take the Saints. -6. They win by a tutty. I'll take the under of 51.5. Matter of fact, I'm going to call the score now. They're going to score 51 between the two. It'll be 31-20. New Orleans Saints over the Las Vegas Raiders. Now that we've gone over the picks, we've talked about the shenanigans that were last week. We've talked about some injuries, some things going around the league. But let's talk about college football for a minute, because it seems like the big boys are coming back. It took 1 week of watching Clemson play. It took 1 week of watching these other big-time schools play college football, and the Big Ten decided to get their head out their ass and get it together, baby. Now, what's hilarious is we're still not playing Big Ten football until October 23rd or 24th. That's a whole lot of time for a bunch of teams that have already been practicing. Should be able to put together a schedule, no problem. If we're not going to let fans there, this should not be an issue. There's still a lot to go when it comes to football coming back for the Big Ten. I heard about a 21-day quarantine. Are you joking? So if a guy tests positive, he's never going to play again for the season. Because after 21 days, that's 3 weeks. He's not going to get back in the rotation unless he was a big-time player. He's going to be allowed back in the facility. What happens when he's out of the facility for those 21 days? There's a lot of question marks, but the bottom line is Ohio State is now the favorite to win the national championship per Pro Football Focus. Shout out to my boy Steve Ruby for dropping that information on me last night. And they should be. They have the most talented roster in college football. Don't give me Trevor Lawrence and their running back his name escapes me right now. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because Ohio State's coming for everybody. 9-game, 8-game season, it doesn't matter. They're going to blow the doors off everybody. Remember what Ryan Day said. Ryan Day talked about he's going to hang 100 on Michigan. And I think he's got the ability to hang 100 on Michigan. What's going to be great is when he hangs 100 on Michigan. And you know why? Do you know why? Do you know why?
Well, is that what you think?
Because that's what people think. But you know what?
I'll tell you what I think. It doesn't matter what you think.
It doesn't matter what you think, Michigan. It doesn't matter what the rest of the Big Ten thinks. This is about Ohio State and Ohio State only. Don't ever pretend, oh, Penn State's got a pretty good team. Maybe. No. This is about Ohio State making it to the playoffs. This is about the Big Ten rallying around their best commodity, what keeps them relevant. Because if Ohio State wasn't in the Big Ten, they'd basically be the Pac-10. All right. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Until next week. Actually, I got a show Saturday. Don't know what we're talking about. Probably some shenanigans. I'll have the boys from the No Hype Zone over here checking out the new redone studio. Still got some things to work out. But we'll be back. Enjoy your week. Stay safe. Be nice to others. A lot of people are going through a lot of things right now. I think it's time everybody shows people a little bit of respect and give everybody a little bit of time and patience, baby. It's going to take a long time to get back to where we used to be. And that's what we need. And now my dogs are barking at me, so it's time to go. Again, for James out west, I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day.